Hey guys, my name is Dylan, and today we are going to take a look at another horrible case with you. Today, we'll delve into another distressing case that unfolded in 2019 in North Carolina. The state of North Carolina is the birthplace of country Watauga, known for blues and Cherokee Indians. Whereas the state has very low rates of crime, and if it does make the national news networks, it is more often due to bad weather like snowstorms, tornadoes, and severe thunderstorms. But it's not always the case. The tranquility of Deep Gap City in North Carolina was shattered by a harrowing incident involving 17-year-old Tristan Borase. Coming from a devout and sizable family, Tristan perpetrated a gruesome act, brutally taking the lives of his all-loved ones within the confines of their family home on April 10, 2019. How did he get caught? If all of the family members died, who called the police? The evening of the tragedy unfolded when emergency services received a distressing call from a young woman reporting a distressing scene. Copious amounts of blood within her home and the absence of her parents and younger brother. Racing against time, police officers swiftly responded, making their way to Deep Gap, situated just a mile from the border of Watauga and Wilkes County. Upon arrival, the officers were greeted by a haunting trail of blood, leading from the walkway to the front door and continuing inside, marking the passage of unspeakable horror. As they meticulously combed the area, their search led them beyond the confines of the house, where they made the grim discovery of a man's lifeless body concealed under a canopy of leaves, bearing the evidence of multiple stab wounds. Shortly after, around 10:30 p.m., the family's pickup truck was discovered clandestinely tucked away in the surrounding woods. Tragically, it was not empty. The woman's lifeless form lay within, shrouded by a blanket, while bags of mulch had been callously piled on top. This senseless and impulsive act unfolded as a domestic tragedy, leaving a community reeling with shock and disbelief. Jeffrey Borlas, Tristan's father, bore the weight of pastoral responsibility as the leader of the conservative Post-Bible Fellowship Church, a Protestant denomination deeply rooted in Mennonite tradition. Tristan's upbringing was steeped in the solemnity of personal piety and an acute awareness of living under the vigilant gaze of a higher power. His formative years were marked by a disciplined regimen of Bible study, moral instruction, and a stern disapproval of worldly pleasures, including laughter and vibrant attire. Under the guidance of his father, Pastor Borase, Jeffrey imbibed the virtues of kindness, love, gentleness, and patience. These foundational principles, emphasizing good deeds, charity, missionary work, and a commitment to nonviolence, shaped Jeffrey's character, molding him into a compassionate and empathetic young man. As a young man, Jeffrey embarked on a summer job at the Big Surf Water Park, nestled along the shores of Lake of the Ozarks in Missouri. It was there, on his inaugural day of work, that he encountered a kindred spirit in Tanya Mae Trandom, a girl whose demeanor exuded charm and humility. Tanya, much like Jeffrey, was raised in a household where Christian principles held sway, instilling in her a deep sense of patience, humility, and selflessness. Their shared values and upbringing formed an instant bond between the two, with Tanya envisioning in Jeffrey the embodiment of an ideal future husband and devoted father. Presenting him with a picture of an elderly couple clasping hands, she declared, "That will be us one day." Jeffrey's mother, Kathy Brown, fervently prayed for her son to find a spouse who shared his unwavering faith, and in Tanya, she believed her prayers had been answered. Their union and marriage heralded the continuation of the values they held dear, with the cherished photo from Tanya serving as a poignant symbol of their aspirations. Soon, their family blossomed with the arrival of their first child, a darling girl named Taylor, followed by the joyful addition of 3 more children. Among them, their youngest son, Tristan, entered the world, completing their familial tapestry. Taylor, the eldest, assumed the role of a nurturing big sister, extending care and support to her siblings with unwavering devotion. However, her strongest bond was with her younger brother, Tristan. Despite their age difference, they were inseparable companions, sharing adventures in sports, music, and mischievous pranks. In the Borlas household, parenting was viewed as a sacred duty, aimed at nurturing the kingdom of God within each child's heart, a philosophy they upheld with unwavering dedication. As the Borlas children matured, Jeffrey and Tanya felt compelled to fulfill their Christian duty by expanding their family through adoption. Open-hearted and welcoming, they embraced 4 more boys from the local orphanage, further enlarging their already bustling household. With this addition, the family now boasted a total of 8 children: Taylor, twins Ka and Alexis, Misery, Al, Stephen, Miku, and Tristan. Aligned with their deeply held religious convictions, the Borlas household operated under strict guidelines regarding technology and relationships. Children were barred from using cell phones and social media until reaching a specified age, while an ethos of asceticism underscored the encouragement of modest needs and desires. Boys were prohibited from dating until completing high school, a milestone marking their transition into adulthood at the age of 18. Despite these constraints, the Borlas children experienced a nurturing upbringing akin to any other household. Their parents, Jeffrey and Tanya, made no distinction between biological and adopted children, showering each with equal measures of attention, care, and affection. Tanya, in her role as the loving matriarch, cultivated a harmonious atmosphere within the home, diligently overseeing the dynamics between siblings, fostering unity through prayer, and exemplifying compassion through acts of kindness. In times of adversity, the Borlas family's commitment to virtuous living was unmistakable. When a devastating hurricane struck Haiti, leaving countless individuals homeless and destitute, Tanya demonstrated an extraordinary display of compassion. Sacrificing her cherished wedding ring, she selflessly donated the proceeds to a foundation dedicated to rebuilding housing for the hurricane victims. In exchange for her sacrifice, she embraced the simplicity of a humble, unassuming replacement, a tangible reminder of her unwavering commitment to serving others and instilling the values of mercy and generosity within her children through her own exemplary actions. In 2015, Taylor's graduation from high school marked a significant milestone as she embarked on a new chapter of her life, venturing to Boone to pursue higher education at Appalachian State University. While her departure brought a sense of pride for her accomplishments, it left Tristan grappling with profound feelings of loneliness and isolation. Taylor had been more than just a sister. She had been his closest companion, his confidant, his truest friend. Her absence left a void that echoed throughout the Borlas household. Although Taylor returned home whenever possible, her visits were fleeting, as she now had her own life to lead, free from the constraints of parental oversight. Meanwhile, Tristan found himself trapped in the familiar confines of the family's rules and routines, rules he had long chafed against. His resentment grew, fueled by his disagreements with his parents' religious beliefs and the restrictions they imposed. The absence of a cell phone and the inability to engage with peers on social networks only exacerbated his sense of alienation, particularly in an age where digital communication had become an integral aspect of teenage socialization. As Tristan grappled with his increasing frustration and sense of isolation, conflicts with his parents escalated. The chasm between their differing worldviews widened, with Tristan feeling increasingly stifled by the constraints of his upbringing. The departure of his sister served as a catalyst for his burgeoning rebellion, setting the stage for tumultuous clashes within the Borlas household. In December 2017, a wave of pleasant changes swept through the Borlas family as they settled into a new abode, nestled amidst the tranquil environs of Deep Gap in Watauga County, North Carolina. Their spacious new home, situated along a rustic dirt road enveloped by woodlands, provided ample room for the family to spread out and thrive. The upgrade from their previous residence was palpable, offering a welcome respite from the confines of their former dwelling. One particularly advantageous aspect of their relocation was the proximity to Robin, Tanya's mother and the children's grandmother. Living just under 2 miles away, Robin's presence provided a reassuring safety net, offering invaluable support whenever needed, particularly in caring for the younger members of the family. This newfound closeness fostered a sense of familial unity and convenience, enhancing the overall quality of life for the Borlas clan. However, while the move brought positive changes for the family as a whole, its impact on Tristan remained uncertain. Adjusting to a new school and unfamiliar surroundings in Watauga presented its own set of challenges for the young man. Despite these hurdles, Tristan threw himself into his new environment, enrolling at the local high school and immersing himself in track and field activities. Meanwhile, his peers pursued summer jobs as camp counselors, embracing opportunities for personal growth and enrichment. From an outsider's perspective, the Borlas household appeared idyllic, with no signs of discord or turmoil. Yet, beneath the surface, Tristan's behavior began to veer into troubling territory over time. The subtle shifts in his demeanor and actions hinted at deeper struggles simmering beneath the veneer of familial harmony, setting the stage for potential challenges ahead. In 2018, concerns about Tristan's emotional well-being surfaced as his school insisted on multiple consultations with a psychologist regarding his anger issues and difficulty controlling impulsive behavior. By 2019, while still in high school, Tristan's academic performance began to suffer despite his evident intellectual capabilities. What once was a diligent student actively engaged in school life transformed into an apathetic, withdrawn teenager who showed little interest in his studies. Tristan's academic struggles exacerbated with each passing day, leading to tardiness, disengagement, and a visible lack of motivation. Often seen with headphones on during class, he appeared detached and disinterested, prompting some teachers to extend a helping hand. However, their efforts were met with indifference, further highlighting Tristan's growing disconnection from his academic pursuits. At home, Tristan's behavior continued to deteriorate. Despite having all his material needs met, he incessantly clashed with his parents over his desire for a cell phone and access to social networks. Consumed by his virtual persona on Instagram, where he portrayed himself as a musician, Tristan's interactions with his family became fraught with tension and arguments, particularly with his mother, whom he sparred with over religious matters. Meanwhile, Taylor, Tristan's observant sister, noted the deterioration in their relationship and Tristan's overall well-being. Concerned for her brother's welfare, she attempted to bridge the growing divide, but their once close bond seemed irreparably strained. In Tristan's quest for solace and understanding, he found companionship in Evelyn Faith Jackson, a girl from their religious community. Despite their shared faith, their relationship ventured into forbidden territory, marked by intimacy and experimentation with illicit substances. Tristan's mounting insecurities and frustrations came to a head as he grappled with the weight of his perceived inadequacies, particularly in the eyes of his mother. Feeling unable to meet her expectations, he sought refuge in his relationship with his father, where he felt a semblance of acceptance and authenticity. However, the strain between mother and son persisted, adding to Tristan's burden of self-doubt and internal turmoil. On April 10, 2019, a lot of secret things from Tristan's life came to light. Surveillance cameras were installed in the barn where the goats were kept, and Tristan's old cell phone, which he sometimes used secretly from his parents, was used as an access point on this day. Tanya took the phone for some reason and read text messages in which her son was having sexual conversations with girls and discussing illegal drugs with them. Tristan was at school at the time and saw his phone start blinking with incoming messages. Shocked parents wrote to him in a family chat about the information found on Tristan's old phone. That same day, Sher King, an English teacher in Tristan's class, called his mother with complaints about the teenager's grades and behavior. She would later testify at trial that Tanya Borlas called her back and told her that she and her husband would be at the school soon and would pick Tristan up early to discuss his grades with him. Sherry King conveyed her parents' message to Tristan, who was taken aback by the news that his parents had entrusted their youngest child to his grandmother and rushed to the middle school to address the situation. The atmosphere during the ride home was laden with silence, foreshadowing the tension that would unfold during the subsequent events. Upon arriving home, a lengthy conversation ensued, lasting an hour and a half, during which Tanya texted her mother, informing her that Tristan accepted the temporary revocation of his phone and car keys until he improved his grades and behavior. She also mentioned her impending arrival to retrieve their younger child. This message was sent at 4 p.m. Yet the dialogue persisted, as per Tristan's account. During this extended conversation, topics ranged from the importance of academic success and maintaining healthy relationships to the perils of substance abuse. Tanya also expressed her preference for Tristan's adherence to Christianity over exploration of other religions. Tristan found himself captive to these discussions, realizing the extent of his need for personal growth. Together, they compiled a list of virtues he should aspire to embody, including compassion and honesty, a list later discovered by the authorities. In one pivotal moment, Tristan recounted how his mother approached him from behind, wrapping her arm around his neck with a certain pressure that startled him, leading to an inadvertent elbowing as he instinctively reacted. According to Tristan's recollection, his mother had never exhibited such behavior before, which prompted his instinctive reaction. Startled by his inadvertent blow, his mother, in turn, reached for what he perceived as a pair of scissors from a nearby shelf and advanced towards him. In a state of shock and believing he was defending himself, Tristan stabbed her and then fled to seek assistance from his father. Subsequent forensic examination failed to uncover any evidence of strangulation marks on Tristan's neck, refuting the notion that his mother had attempted to strangle him. During the trial, the prosecution presented photos of Tanya's neck taken by the medical examiner, revealing a fractured neck bone. In contrast, the psychologist testified that Tristan was mentally sound at the time of the incident, but was afflicted by severe cognitive impairment. experiencing feelings of depersonalization and derealization, rendering events unreal to him. However, despite the psychologist's assessment, the court and jury dismissed it, branding Tristan as a cunning manipulator and a societal menace. Tristan maintained his confusion regarding the unfolding events, unable to comprehend why his father fled from him and why he stabbed him upon catching up, despite pleading for help. He vividly recalled his father's warning, urging him not to proceed, but remained convinced that his father would have preferred his demise rather than intervening to protect him. Neighbors later recounted hearing piercing screams emanating from the Borase residence around 5:30 p.m. that fateful Wednesday. After the ordeal concluded, Tristan retreated back to the house where he succumbed to violent bouts of vomiting, an occurrence interpreted by the psychologist as indicative of extreme stress rather than premeditated murder. However, the jury adamantly opposed this interpretation, swayed by the compelling evidence presented during the trial. Detailed forensic reports from the medical examiner painted a gruesome picture of the violence inflicted upon Tristan's parents. The murder of his father and subsequent actions painted a damning picture. Tristan not only returned to the scene but also clandestinely disposed of his mother's body, concealing it under a tarp in the truck, and meticulously sanitized the crime scene, including washing the porch outside the house with a hose for nearly an hour. Around 8:30 p.m., Tristan made an unsettling appearance at his grandmother's residence to collect his younger brother, Robin. Robin couldn't help but feel a sense of unease, finding Tristan's behavior out of character. Tristan hastily explained that their parents had an urgent errand at the store and regretted not being able to personally retrieve his brother. Roughly 20 minutes later, Robin received a troubling call from another grandson, expressing frustration at his parents' failure to answer calls and pick him up from his part-time job, as was their routine. Alarmed by the situation, Grandma contacted Alexis, urging her to fetch her brother. They agreed to rendezvous at Jeffrey and Tanya's house to assess the situation. As they approached the property, Robin noticed bloodstains on the porch, initially attributing them to the couple's animal rearing activities. However, her concern heightened when she entered the house to retrieve a flashlight and encountered a scene of carnage. Blood splattered across every surface. In a panicked rush, Alexis stumbled upon a grim discovery: a lifeless form beneath a hammock near the animal barn, with a glimpse of Tristan nearby, his face smeared with blood, preparing to flee. Reacting swiftly, Alexis dialed emergency services, relaying the distressing situation. The operator instructed them to seek refuge in the car until the authorities arrived. 10 agonizing minutes later, law enforcement officers descended upon the scene. After enduring hours of anxious anticipation and providing statements, they were escorted to the police station. There, the grim truth was revealed. Jeffrey and Tanya Borlas had been found dead. While examining the crime scene, detectives discovered a computer interface within the residence, linking the in-home video surveillance system to the monitors. Upon accessing the system, detectives observed a grid display showing live feeds from various cameras. They promptly sought a warrant to obtain credentials from the system's servicing company. Meanwhile, Tristan reached out to his girlfriend Evelyn and visited her at her residence. Sensing his unease and noticing scratches on his forehead and arms, Evelyn inquired about his condition. Tristan reassured her, attributing the scratches to a disagreement with his parents and playtime with his dog. Describing his injuries as 3 scratches on his forehead, a hand wound, a cut finger, and a bruised fingernail, Evelyn corroborated Tristan's account. Shortly after the incident, Tristan posted a photo of his injuries on Snapchat, claiming they were caused by his father's dog. Confirming the injuries' authenticity, Evelyn noted that they matched what she saw. The following morning, Tristan and Evelyn initially planned to go to school after a trip to Walmart and McDonald's, but ultimately changed their minds. Convinced that Tristan sought respite from his parents, Evelyn suggested staying with a relative in another state. They agreed and traveled to their destination. While driving with Evelyn, Tristan noticed police lights behind them, suspecting his parents had reported the car stolen. Attempting to evade capture, Tristan accelerated on the highway but eventually yielded to the pursuing officers, surrendering as the Ford was encircled by police vehicles. Evelyn, bewildered by the scene, witnessed Tristan's arrest without his apparent distress. Following his arrest, Tristan's April 11, 2019 interview with investigator Matthew was recorded, where he candidly confessed to the crime and provided detailed accounts of his actions, occasionally breaking into tears. Despite being a month shy of his 18th birthday, Tristan Borase was remanded into custody without bail. Funeral services for the couple took place on April 17, 2019, at Bible Fellowship Church, with pastors William C.R. and Brad Gray officiating. During the trial, Tristan expressed remorse for the tragic events and acknowledged the validity of his family's concerns, supporting their decision to enforce a permanent ban on contact to ensure their safety. On March 3rd, Tristan Borr was handed a life sentence without the possibility of parole for each count of first-degree murder. This internal conflict led to a collaborative effort between him and his mother to compile a list of perceived flaws in need of correction, raising questions about whether such suffering could have been prevented in a more nurturing and understanding family environment. Dylan was with you. Please subscribe Crime Crows and leave a comment with your opinion.